Warning, warning. This is a global ice out. Testing the right speaker. Right. Testing the left speaker. Left. Sound successfully recovered. Swan Commander. Connected. And now, the countdown has begun. And now, are you ready for a journey that goes beyond the norms? The Federal Prospects Hockey League just celebrated its 15th anniversary. With a footprint and fan base rapidly expanding, Swan Hockey is now bringing you behind the scenes. Beyond what you see at games. Beyond the arenas. Beyond the crowds. This is FPHL Beyond the Glass.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of FPHL Beyond the Glass. I'm your host, Eric Swan, Swan Commander on social media. We just finished week 2 of the FPHL regular season number 16 for the league. Once again, no shortage of entertainment and some really cool things happening this weekend. The big news probably over the weekend is Topeka. They set the attendance record, most fans to attend a FPHL home game. There was more fans in Biloxi for one of the neutral site games, but again, that was the neutral site game. This was the largest crowd ever in FPHL history for a home team. So awesome job, and congratulations to Topeka. Really cool to see. No shortage of entertainment with their intro too for the home opener. I think my favorite part was Robbie Nichols riding out on the back of the Jeep, and yeah, that, like everybody always says, definitely an entertainer. And yeah, so that was really cool. We had some, I don't want to say upsets, but probably some things that nobody would have guessed, probably would have never guessed. Columbus starting the season the way they are. Same for Danbury. And yeah, so but hey, you love to see it. You love to see, the league being tight, anybody kind of being able to beat anybody. Indiana is struggling, but yeah, I mean, hopefully they get one here soon. And yeah, I mean, fans there have been, seem to be pretty supportive. It'd be nice to see the numbers go up a little bit more. They had a pretty packed house for their home opener, but fans there in Indiana seem passionate. They seem supportive, and you love to see it. So yeah, Indiana fans keep going out. And yeah, perhaps the biggest news right now, actually just dropped a few minutes before starting to record today's episode, is Parker Moskal, according to a letter from owner Nick Perkin of the Monroe Moccasins, Parker Moskal is no longer affiliated with Monroe. I know there's a lot of stuff going out online. We've even had it in the Discord already, and we're going to let this unfold. Right now, I think it's important to just kind of let the teams make their own statements. I'm assuming we're going to get a statement from Commissioner Don Kernan. So before we do anything on that or dive deeper into that, I want to let that unfold. I want to let the people that should be speaking about this first speak about this first, and then perhaps we will cover it more on another episode. But that is still unfolding. Like I said, the news just dropped not long before even recording this. So we're going to let that unfold. We're going to wait to hear from Don Kernan, which I'm assuming we will hear from him at some point. That is an assumption. But yeah. So yeah, for this episode, we're going to be joined by Vice Commissioner Sarge Richards, who we're going to bring in. And then we're also going to bring in Dave Jackson, Director of Player Safety for the league, to talk about some of the suspensions and some of the suspensions that he's rescinded or changed as well. Dive into some other rules. And yeah, we got an awesome episode coming up. And yeah, before we get into that, let's do our proof of attendance token code for watching or listening to this episode. again, these token codes are going to be coming to an end here. This very well could be the last one. We have the new way of doing the streaming rewards, which is a much better way of doing it. But the proof of attendance token code for this episode is FPHL. So if you're participating in season pass and Swan Hockey Digital, you know what to do by now. Just go to the podcast page on swanhockey.io. And if you're not participating in season pass or Swan Hockey Digital yet, we'd love to have you. Season pass is our free rewards program. You can earn points for doing things you already do, such as listening or watching Swan Hockey podcasts. And you can get started for free. You can start getting points for free and claiming rewards. And you can get more information at swanhockey.io. You can also join the Discord. Encourage you guys to join the Discord. We want to hear from you guys. Remember, the chats for these episodes, that's where they are, in the Discord. Would love to hear your thoughts on the episodes, on the topics. Want to chime in. Let me know your opinions. And let's get into it. What's going on, Sarge? How are you?
Well, living in Florida, things are good. October is my favorite month because of the weather here. And October is one of my busiest months because of my association with the Fed and what I do in my normal job duties with the Fed. So it's exciting time of the year for all the hockey fans of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And vice commissioner in the Federal League, no small task. A lot of exciting things going on. We, had already mentioned, Topeka setting the record for, largest crowd and, for a FPHL home game. That's, obviously great news for the league, great news for, a first year expansion team.
Yeah, very exciting. Great market, it appears to be. Donnie Lewis is one of the, key operators in the league. Seems everything he touches turns to gold. He's a hustler. He's a, no nonsense guy. And Robbie Nichols, tremendous playing career, coaching career, owns 3 baseball teams in New York, knows the business world upside and down, knows hockey. It's a great team they got there in the front office, in the locker room, and on the ice. So it's going to be fun to watch them throughout the year.
Yeah, for sure. And that city showed up. That's what it was what was it? 6,100 and change was the attendance.
I forget exactly. I thought it was a little more than that, but
for some reason 6172 is coming to my head.
Yeah, I had to look on our league website to see what it says. But it definitely was the all-time regular season high mark to date. We did have 9,000 in Mississippi for one of the neutral site games years back. But, they were discounted tickets. There was only 3 games played there. You're not asking people to support you, in a regular season. So, yeah, it was really good. They wound up with a split, and there's tremendous parity in the league right now. After a couple of weeks, so you're starting to see, what's happening, and everything's happening. The team you watched last week is not the team you'll watch this week. There's transactions every day. The SP is waiving guys. The ECHL's waiving guys. We're trading guys. They got to get down to their a new number, by the first week in November. So we allowed every team with expanded rosters, and now they're having to start trimming. So a lot of transactions going on, a lot of trading of players, and everybody's trying to find what they need, to be competitive. And it's a tough juggling act right now. Trying to keep track of the players. You can say, well, yeah, on Saturday I saw him in City A, and oh, well, wait a minute, he's in City B now. So it's good. It's good. We have a lot of hardworking people, and the league is on the upward, as you say on many of your podcasts. I agree with that. We're not without issues like every league is. So we try to deal with them and make good decisions. And hopefully a majority of the decisions turn out to be good ones, and a few probably won't be, but that's life.
Yeah, true with anything, especially like when you're pushing, when you're pushing a limit, pushing the boundaries. I mean, sometimes everything doesn't go as as planned, or maybe as nicely as you would like it, but you pivot, you adjust, and yeah, definitely a lot of roster movement going on. Life of a minor league hockey player. Better make sure you have a good suitcase, right? Like, and yeah, I mean, why
Yeah.
don't you talk a little bit about the roster rules, like where the rosters are at now and what they got to get trimmed down to?
Yeah. Well, first of all, in the off season, except for expansion teams, we allowed the teams to have 30 players. With the uncertainty of immigration, sometime in August, we allowed an additional 5 American players to be added at that time. At training camp, you're not supposed to have more than 30 players in any one day. Um, and then we had it trimmed down. The regular season roster will be 21 if you have a third goaltender. It'll be 20 otherwise. We've expanded it for a couple until the first Saturday in November to allow them to, evaluate players a little bit longer. We did start before both of the other leagues, the SP and the Coast. So guys are trickling down, and, guys are being also moving upwards too. So, yeah, I mean, it just gives the teams a little bit more time to evaluate what they have and to make hopefully good decisions. So we will be at 21 um, after the first Saturday in November. And, we have IRs and we have, some other categories, loans, et cetera. But 21 active players, 22 if you have a third goaltender.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So and for everybody at home, what Sarge is saying, and Sarge, correct me if I'm messing it up, but if you do, so 21 plus the third goalie, if you do not take a third goalie, you cannot use that 22nd spot on a forward or defenseman. That spot is strictly for a third goalie.
That's correct. We do have one other category. A lot of teams, because of geography, mostly have local players. Um, so we allow one at any one time. They have to fill out paperwork, etc. But sometimes this could be, and a lot of times it would be, a goaltender who's available to practice with the team several days a week, uh, to give the other 2 guys a break if guys get dinged up in practice or just want to go and take a 2-minute water break or whatever and recompose. And they fill out the proper paperwork. They can't play under that, but they can practice. Um, so it could be a positional player or a goaltender, and they're only allowed one at any one time. So that allows them a little bit more flexibility. I would imagine if it is a goaltender, that would be their primary e-bug guy because he'd be familiar with the coach and the team, and but that's basically the roster and what you have to work with, and it's roster management's very important. You got to stay within your cap space. You have to have 6 rookies in every game. A rookie is somebody with 56 games or less professional games played, not including postseason. Um, you can only have 5 veterans. Veteran is defined as 225 pro games played, not including postseason play. So there are some roster restrictions there, along with your cap, etc. So it's it's a tricky deal. The IRs that we have 2. They're called rehab IRs. They are flexible in that it's a minimum of 15 days and a maximum of 30. So it could be 15 and they're off, or it could be 18 and they're off, could be 29. But once they reach this 30, they got to do something, bring them back, or put them on another rehab that starts over again. So that would be 45 days altogether. The player would have to serve. So yeah, I mean, some people do a better job than others, just like everything else. But it's something you got to be aware of every day.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you too, because I think there's been some confusion over the failure to report. Do you want to run through failure to report real quick?
Yeah, the traditional one is for training camp. You make trades. The expansion team conducts drafts, and they select players. Um, if a player fails, first of all, he has to be invited to attend camp. That would be a prerequisite. Okay. Then, if he fails to report to camp, you can place him in that category, and he can remain there until 30 November. So that gives you time to entice him to come, to maybe make a trade for him, et cetera, et cetera. If nothing can be done on the 1st of December, they all go on league suspension, which prohibits them from playing this season. But after the season, they become a free agent. So it also works with trades. If a player fails to report on a trade, again, the trades are in the league are to be as specific as can be made by the two teams. So if I'm trading, player A to you, and I want player B in return, I can put on there, if player B does not report within such and such a time, in lieu of player B, you can provide me X number of dollars cash, or so many sticks, or so many rooms when we come down to play your team, or meals, etc. So the more specific the trade, the idea is that all trades are final. So be as specific as you can. And if you're not, you might wind up, you get the guy and the other guy don't come to you, and you're just out of luck because you didn't make it specific enough. So, but if they don't come and you don't have anything in there, you can put them on fail to report. I believe, without checking, and it doesn't happen that often, but there is a time limit there too. Obviously now it's the 30 November. After December 1st, if somebody were traded and not report, I believe we give, I'd have to double check, but I believe it's like 30 days. It's not a long period of time to try to convince him to come. And if not within that time frame, the same results, he would be on league suspension.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, Sarge, anything else you want to say before we bring in Dave Jackson?
Well, no, I talk about Dave Jackson. We're so blessed to have someone with that talent. Like I said to you privately, Dave's at the top of the food chain in hockey and what he does, and we're closer to the bottom of that food chain. So I love listening to him and his explanation of penalties and assessments of suspensions and rule interpretations. If he's good enough for ESPN, I think he's good enough for us.
Yeah, well, we got a lot to go over this episode, and some probably never before seen, including that Monroe forecheck on the ref crew.
Yeah. Hey, no, there's
you could have commentated that. You could have commentated that, Monroe gets the puck, 2 refs on him, passes it, throws it over to Parker. Parker chips it to his teammate, fires it in the crowd.
Hey, there's
a commentation on that.
We always profess we're in the entertainment business, not the hockey business. And if we're in the entertainment business, we certainly know how to entertain people.
What movie is that from? Are you not entertained? But yeah, no shortage of entertainment.
No. Hey, If you come to a FPHL game uh, at any given time, and it's your first time, I guarantee you'll be back. It's a fun night. It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, no, awesome things continuing to go with the league. Yeah, no shortage of entertainment, lots of great things happening, for, individual teams, for the league as a whole. Again, great to see, everything going so well in Topeka. Great to see everything, going well, really, pretty much all around. So it's, Indiana obviously trying to find their way a little bit here on the, in the standings and the statistics, but yeah, hopefully they'll find that quickly. And yeah, hopefully, everyone keeps supporting them. And like I said in the intro, like they have passionate fans. I mean, I've never seen, they lost 10-0 on Friday night, right? 10-0, lost 10-0. Go to center ice, salute the crowd, and the crowd was going nuts for them. They just lost 10-0. Crowd was going nuts, that's awesome support from the fans. So I mean, like, Indiana fans, keep at it, keep supporting your team. Like, that's awesome.
Minor league sports are community teams. The players are available and accessible to the community. They're in the community. They're reading to third graders. They're at the fair. They're at the parades. They're everywhere. The higher up you go, the less you have of that. So these teams are community teams. And that's one of the reasons they're successful, is they are part of the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, no, that's awesome, Sarge. Thanks for doing this, and yeah, we're gonna head over to Dave
you.
Jackson.
I mean, I enjoy watching the podcast every week. I hope more and more people start tuning in, because they're missing a lot of fun conversation and knowledge that's available by listening. So hopefully the audience grows every week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and you guys at home, I mean, spread the word, bring your friends, join the Discord, keep the conversation going all week. And
well, I got both of my friends already looking. It's Don and Smitty.
What did you say?
Yeah, I said I have both of my friends listening, Don and Smitty.
Yeah, Don's in the Discord. He's in there. Hasn't been active yet, but he's in there.
Okay. Took a little bit. Well, hey, have a great week.
Yeah, thanks, Sarge. You too. So
take care.
Let's head over to Dave Jackson. Hey, everyone. Don't forget to join the Swan Hockey Discord server. Joining is free and gains you access to our podcast chats, giveaways, season pass discussion and help, junior hockey camps and showcase discussion, NHL on Xbox and PlayStation discussion, and more. Join today for free at swanhockey.com. What's going on, Dave? How are you?
Eric, how are you today? Good to be seen.
Doing good. It's it's a long weekend. Last week, I think you mentioned on this podcast that you've seen some things in the minor leagues that you just wonder, how does that happen? This week, I think I tell you, careful what you wish for.
Well, yeah, that's the great thing about this job. Some people go to work and they know exactly what they're getting every day when they walk in the office. And, I get to open my computer every Saturday and Sunday morning, and it's always something new, always something different.
Yep. Yeah. And it, like I mentioned last week, like, it's got to be a hard job at this level, trying to balance that, keeping the entertainment in it, but making sure that doesn't get crazy and out of control. Just got to be hard at this level. Like I always say, that the hardest league to coach in is probably the ECHL, because of all the player movement and everything. I mean, this has to be one of the hardest levels to do your job in.
Well, my job, I wouldn't classify it necessarily as that hard. I get to watch things 5, 6, 10 times if I want. I think it's one of the hardest leagues to referee. I mean, at the NHL level, refereeing, I mean, I was there for over 30 years. The pressure is enormous. The pressure is really intense. The speed is fast, but a lot of stuff that happens is predictable.
Sure.
Players play a certain way. There's a certain expectation of what they know they can get away with. They play hockey for the most part. The guys refereeing in the Fed, they have situations that crop up that never in a million years would I think would happen in a hockey game, and these guys have to face it each and every night.
Yeah, the wild card factor for sure. Let's dive into some of the stuff from this weekend. What do you got in terms of suspensions?
Well, let's see. We got decline a call here. I apologize. Well, we're on here.
No, all good.
Yeah. So we had a game with a player being ejected for lewd and inappropriate gestures. It was becoming an issue in the past years, and the board of governors, or the executive board, they got together 2 summers ago, right before the start of last season, and the executive board came up with a policy. So for everybody watching who thinks that I just make things up when it comes to lewd gestures, there's a specific policy that the executive board put into place before the start of last season, and that is first offense for inappropriate or lewd gestures or slurs is a 2-game suspension. If you commit the same infraction a second time within a 12-month period, it's a 4-game suspension. And a third time is a 1-year suspension. Pretty much non-negotiable. And the players should know what they can and can't get away with. We were talking about slurs. Slurs would be racial, sexual orientation, possibly religious slurs. When it comes to gestures, slashing your throat, flipping the bird, grabbing your private parts. And unfortunately, what we had on Saturday night was simulated gunplay. And I think in the environment we're in right now, gunplay is not a joke. The NBA's had to deal with it, and the NBA's suspended players, fined players over $100,000 for simulating gunplay. And we had a case on Saturday night where it was probably not meant to be malicious. It's just kids see that kind of stuff on TV. They see it in popular culture. We just can't have it. We have families. It's family entertainment at our games, and unfortunately, we had a player win a fight and then resort to simulating gunplay. That was his second offense within a 12-month period. So he got 4-game suspension. I feel bad suspending a guy for 4 games, but it's right there in black and white, and anybody can read the rule. And players need to be up on the rules and know what they can and can't get away with. He crossed the line, and now he's suspended for 4 games.
Yeah. No, like you said, never want to see a player suspended. But again, keeping that line of what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And I remember reading that one this morning. I was one, and I'm like, again, I'm like looking, I'm like, kind of couldn't believe I was reading it. And then, it was in my head that you had to write it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
geez, what a weekend. And it was only part of it.
Yeah. And then, we had one which happened where the visiting team won, first victory for their new coach. So they attempted to get the game puck after the game, and the home team was not having anything to do with it. Wouldn't let them get the puck. So the linesman got involved. They tried to get the puck to no avail, and one of the players eventually ended up shooting the puck over the glass to make sure that the team could not get the puck. Now, it's gamesmanship. It's petty. It shouldn't happen. But more than anything, we brought in a rule last year. Last year in the playoffs, we had a team win a playoff series, and they went to get the puck, and the team that lost refused to give them the puck, and they took the puck and flipped it into the stands. Now, it sounds like boys being boys, not a big deal, except that we need to remember that when the play is not going, when the whistle goes, the fans expect to be able to look at their phone, maybe turn to their significant other and have a conversation because the play is not going on. We ask people to pay attention when the play is going on. When the whistle goes, when the game's over, they're not expecting a puck to come flying into the stands. Well, what happened last year was a puck did come flying into the stands. It hit a lady in the head, cut her open. She had to be rushed to the hospital. And people were calling for suspension of the player. I looked at it. We didn't have a specific rule other than unsportsmanlike conduct. He didn't take it. He wasn't a slap shot. He didn't fire a slap shot into the crowd. He wasn't trying to hurt somebody. It was boys being boys. It was innocent flip of the puck, except that the fans weren't expecting it. So I proposed this summer to the executive board that let's bring in a rule. And let's let the players know, let's let the teams know you can't do that. It's a safety issue. Safety issue for our fans. We have young kids at the game. Nobody wants to have their kid hit with a puck. So player shot the puck into the crowd. Referee saw it. It's an automatic 1-game suspension. You can't do that. So the player's paying the price, and he probably won't do that again. And then on the same stoppage, we had 2 players cross the line with verbal abuse. And people ask me sometimes, I'll get people on Facebook or people on Twitter, they'll ask me, why do you have to suspend our player just for verbal abuse? It doesn't seem like it was that bad. And I agree. I couldn't agree more. Suspending a player for first offense verbal abuse is tough. What they have to understand, though, is players in the FPHL do not get fined. They don't. They're not required to pay a financial amount for anything. They don't make a lot of money. We don't want to take money out of their pocket. But you have to look at it from my point of view. If the game is over and a player decides he's going to abuse a referee and he's going to cross the line to where it's bad enough where he earns a game misconduct, I can't fine him. If I don't suspend him, that means there's 0 repercussions. That means players can say and do whatever they want to officials post game without fear of any retribution. That's why they get suspended. So you know what? When that game's over, you might not be happy, but if you're going to abuse the referee verbally, you're going to be suspended, and that's just the way it is. It's the way it's been for the last 4 years, and it's not going to change.
Yeah, makes all the sense in the world. And there was a lot of interesting parts and moving parts to that whole post game interaction between the players, the officials, and I think it opens up, a lot of question and a lot of I guess opportunity to dive deeper into the rule book that we typically don't need to dive into. So just to clear things up for everybody. So Monroe taking the puck, there's no rule against that, right? Them not wanting to give up the puck. I saw the suspensions. The 3 suspensions that came through were the 2 for verbal abuse of the official, and then flipping the puck into the crowd. Nothing Correct. For the refs having to chase them around the ice and try to get the puck, not wanting to give up the puck, not listening to the refs. Just to be clear, none of that was a suspendable offense.
Correct. In fact, we spoke with the officials. It's not even their responsibility to get a puck for the other team. It's a puck. Go over to the scorer's bench, get a puck, get another game puck. The one they wanted had been in play for 2 minutes at that point. Big deal. Like it wasn't like that puck had been used all game. Go over to the scorer's bench, get a game puck from that game. It's symbolic, right? But I don't want my officials having to act like kindergarten teachers and get in between players and have to retrieve pucks. That's not their job. Someone could get hurt doing that. When the game ends, teams should stay on their half of the ice, exit by their door. They didn't. I don't really care who keeps the puck. Just don't shoot it into the crowd. Just use common sense. And there's really not, I can't enforce that. That puck doesn't belong to anybody except the person that has it at the end of the game. If the goalie makes a stop in his glove and the buzzer goes, that's the goalie's puck, in my opinion. Whoever gets to it first, that's their puck. I can't make anybody give up a puck. There's nothing in the rules that cover it. Just don't shoot it into the crowd. That's all I care about.
Sure. Yeah. So there's, and that's one of those things like where, again, like we all know what the unofficial gentleman's rule of the sport, if you want to call it, right? But obviously those unofficial, code of conduct rules, they're not enforceable by, in terms of official rules, right? So like, I guess what, in terms of where the official rules end and the unofficial rules begin, I think it's interesting. And, for everybody at home, like where do the refs' responsibilities for taking control of the game start, and where do they end for where the ref relinquishes control and says, okay, I'm off the clock. It's not my game anymore. Game's over. I'm done.
That's a really good question. So we tell the referees that if something happens pregame, make a report. If it's really bad, call the commissioner, call the director officiating, Paul Jean, call me if those guys aren't available. You can call Sarge. I mean, once the game starts, anything that happens on the ice or anything concerning players, coaches, stick boys that happens to them on the bench in regards to fan interaction with them and all that, that's the referee's purview. They're in charge of that. They can remove fans. They can order security to a certain place. When teams are leaving the ice, they're still in charge of that. But once everybody's off the ice, once you can no longer see team personnel, once you can no longer see players, if we have an incident in front of a locker room where a fan gets involved or players get involved, that's something, in my opinion, that becomes either a police report, let them handle it, or the executive board can handle that. If it's an issue of needing more security, if it's an issue of maybe management getting involved, that's really not player safety. It's certainly not the referee's responsibility. The game is over. Certainly, if they see it, they witness it, we want them to file a report. The more information, the more the better it is for everybody to formulate an opinion. But that's where the executive board, a group of owners, that they can get involved, they can have a hearing, and they can mete out the necessary discipline. But for the referees, pretty much once you no longer, if fans can't see the players, then the referees don't have to see the players either. That's
Okay.
becomes an off-ice issue, and we let the league deal with that.
Okay. So basically, whole game, warm-ups, and then on and off the ice, like in terms of the players getting on the ice, like once, skating to the bench, skating away from the bench, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Just anytime they're in sight. Now, in terms of the referee being the guy, being in charge, where a situation like what happened in Monroe, where it's not the ref's job to play keeper of the puck, but if the ref tells a player to do something, hey, give me the puck, does that command have to be followed by the player? And again, like, I guess that's such a gray area, and probably one of the reasons why you tell the refs, hey, don't even go down that road. Don't even ask for the puck. Like, that's not your job. Like, you're going to head into a gray area. But once the ref does ask the player to do something, whether it's, hey, give me the puck, or, hey, go skate over there, or, hey, stop talking, are there repercussions for not following the ref's commands after the game?
Yeah, so that's a good question. During the game, during the 60 minutes of the actual game time, if a referee or linesman requests the puck, there's a reason for them requesting that. And a failure to do so is probably a 10-minute misconduct. A player shoots the puck away from a linesman trying to pick it up, or a player flipping it to a team, making an official look bad who's trying to pick up a puck. That's almost an automatic 10-minute misconduct.
Yeah, trying to show them up.
For sure. Trying to make them look silly. You're still in charge of the game at that point. When the game is over, as I said earlier, I don't want our officials getting involved. Game is over. Whoever has the puck has the puck. So I don't even want them asking for the puck. So that it shouldn't be an issue of a team defying an official, because I don't want the officials asking for that puck.
Right.
Only time they're going to get involved is like they did the other night, where the player throws it into the crowd, and that becomes a game misconduct.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Let's head over to, you made a change. You rescinded one suspension, made a change to another. Why don't we dive into that a little bit?
Yeah. So I think it's important we talk head contact, because that is the real hot button issue. No matter what league you look at, nobody wants to see players hit in the head. Nobody wants players getting concussions. That's some serious stuff. But I really think it's important that people understand the rule in professional hockey versus the rule in, say, college hockey, junior hockey, minor hockey. The rule in pro hockey is you cannot pick somebody's head. Meaning, if you're bent over and I come through and just put a shoulder to your ear, that's head contact. You're going to be penalized for that. But I'm not sure how tall you are, Eric, but I'm 6'4". If I come, so if I come at you, I got 4 inches on you. If you're bent over playing the puck and I come at you, put my shoulder down, I don't jump, I don't charge you, I don't elevate on my hit. I just drop my shoulder and I come right through and I hit you in the chin, but it's directly through my center core. So my shoulder's hitting your chin, it's then hitting your ribs, and I'm not raising my arms, I'm not jumping forward. The fact that your chin was contacted first has no bearing on the professional hockey rule for head contact. That's considered a full body check through the center core. And people sometimes use the word initial point of contact, primary point of contact. Those words don't exist in our rule book. The rule is main point of contact. And the main point of contact, if you look at percentages, if I touch your chin and I get all of your center core, the chin is a small percentage of the overall contact. That becomes a legal body check. And that's what happened on Friday night, albeit it was interference. The player hadn't touched the puck yet, but the hit itself, the contact was legal. The player came in, he dropped his shoulder, he got him on the chin and right through the center core. That's not head contact, even though there was some contact to the chin. Based on our rule, that's not a penalty. And that's where people need to understand the rule. Just because there's chin contact, head contact, it's not an automatic. You have to look at the whole picture. Did the player making the hit, did he take a poor angle of approach? Did he elevate? Did he jump? Did he pick just the head? Did he only get a small portion of the shoulder and most of it was head? Those are all penalties. But our rule allows a bigger player to make a legal body check on a smaller player without being penalized for being bigger. And that's what happened on Friday night. Legal hit. There was some chin contact, but per our rules, it's not a penalty. And I think everybody really needs to read that rule. And I think I think I spoke about this last week. NHL.com has a great video rulebook section, and any penalty that you're like confused about, it's in there. And there's probably a 2 to 5 minute video on explaining exactly what is and what isn't a penalty. And we use the same standard as the NHL.
Yeah, I think that's important for people to understand. And yeah, and let's talk a little bit about the other one that got changed as well.
Sure.
The instigator to aggressor.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about that last week, and we'll talk about it again. An instigator penalty is a 2-minute minor for somebody who starts a fight and both players end up fighting. That's really important because both players need to fight in order for you to instigate a fight. If you simply jump a guy, beat the crap out of him, and he doesn't fight back, that's an aggressor penalty. And it's really important to know the difference. Both players fight, but you started it. It's a 2-minute power play for the other team. One player fights, jumps a guy who's unaware, unwilling, whatever the reason may be. He doesn't get the 2-minute minor, but he gets 5 for fighting in a game misconduct. Other player gets nothing. So it's a 5-minute power play now for the other team. And what happened the other night was the player came out of the box on a legal line change, skated 80 feet. He went at a player, and so it was in the last 5 minutes. This was not an organic fight. When I say an organic fight, I've got the puck in the corner. You come up behind me, and you plant me face first into the boards. I get up. I start a fight with you. That's an organic fight. That's an organic instigator, organic aggressor. It's in retaliation of something that happens. In this case, he came out of the box with under 5 minutes to go, went directly at the player, dropped his gloves, jumped him, and started punching him. That is premeditated. That is in response probably for something that happened earlier that game. Maybe happened last game, maybe happened last season. I don't know. I don't ask. I don't care. All that concerns me is that it was not organic. It was premeditated. Last 5 minutes, so that calls for an automatic game misconduct. The fact that he was the aggressor, so he jumped the guy, he got 5 for fighting, he gets another game misconduct. Aggressor is an automatic 1-game suspension. So as far as what the referees called, they threw him out of the game and gave the team a 5-minute power play. So that was all done correctly. It was more a housekeeping semantics rule. I rescinded the instigator penalty. I rescinded the match penalty for sucker punch because to me, a sucker punch is when a player doesn't see a punch coming. It happens usually in a scrum. A guy they're jawing with each other, and a guy just drops his glove. Either he might keep his glove on, just hauls off, and Wales hits the guy in the face. Knocks him down. It's a dangerous play. You really seriously hurt somebody in that. That's a match penalty for sucker punch. To me, when you see a guy coming at you from 80 feet, he's dropping his gloves, he's jumping you, throwing punches at you. That's not a sucker punch. It's still an assault of some sort.
Yeah, guy skating at you from 80 feet away with no gloves.
Yeah,
Kind of like what do you think's about to happen?
But it's coming. So I rescinded the match penalty for sucker punch, added the aggressor. So it was still a 5-minute power play. It was still a game of conduct, just different categories. Player ended up with a 2-game suspension, and we move on. But it's important for not only the fans, it's important for my officials to understand the difference between an aggressor and an instigator. And we're there. We're just every now and then it's it needs to be adjusted, and they need to be reminded that one major penalty, aggressor, both guys fight, you can call instigator.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And again, just very, good insight for fans and everything to understand. So, to know what they're watching and everything, and to understand what's going on. Do you want to get into a new rule this week in terms of, maybe something more basic for the common fan?
No, I really don't, because I think I've given them enough. We've discussed lewd and inappropriate gestures and slurs. We've gone over a second time instigator versus aggressor. We've got the brand new rule, which was used for the first time this season: puck over the glass, automatic game misconduct, and head contact, which is a hot button issue. So we've given the fans 4 rules. There will be a test on it next week.
Yeah, no, I don't necessarily disagree. There's a lot to learn here. The weekend kind of provides its own opportunity to, teach some rules here and everything. So hope you guys are, following along and getting this and everything. Let us know in the Discord. Let us know your thoughts. That's going to be it for this week. Dave, is there anything that you want to end with?
No, just that if you are watching this for the first time, or if you haven't been to a FPHL hockey game, do yourself a favor. If the tickets are affordable, it's a family fun experience, a great place to go on a Friday or Saturday night. Get out there, go check out a hockey game. It really is. It's the best sport in the world live. You watch it on TV, maybe you don't know the game. You go, I can't follow the puck. Believe me, you go to a hockey game, these rinks are the perfect size. You'll be able to follow the puck. You'll be amazed how fast the action is, how hard hitting it is. It's a great sport to watch live. So do yourself a favor, go buy a ticket, take your wife, take your girlfriend, take your kids, go watch a game. They're lots of fun.
Yeah, lots of entertainment too. I don't know if you saw, but Robbie Nichols came riding out in a Jeep for the introduction for the home opener in Topeka. If you would have told me, they had when you're watching on TV and everything, he's holding American flag riding out on the back of a Jeep, pumping his fist. Like if you'd have told me it was the cover for the next Rocky movie, I would have believed you.
Well, I tell you what, I refereed in the IHL back in the mid 80s when Robbie Nichols played. And if I had to guess who would do something like this, it wouldn't surprise me it's Robbie Nichols, because he's an entertainer.
Yeah,
good dude. Good dude.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So awesome. Well, Dave, thanks again. And everyone, until next time, I will see you in the Discord.
See you, Eric.
See you, Dave.
Thank you for being the best part of this episode of FPHL Beyond the Glass by Swan Hockey. We will see you soon.